Alright guys, hello everybody. Thought we'd go through, do a quick video and go through the beehives. I've got a lot of stuff blooming right now. I'm gonna get this smoker going. I've got us some dry pine needles here. And let it get smoking, and then we'll get in here and start looking at some of these bees, see how they're doing, see if they're drawing any of that comb out or not. Alright guys, we're gonna let that smolder and get going good. While we do that, I'll show you what we got going on with the garden. My wife was wanting to plant some flowers in here, but we had to keep the chickens from digging the seed up and eating it. So with the economy the way it is and prices everything, I didn't want to go buy fencing to do this, so we just used what we had on hand. And this is just some old round bale hay netting. And then I had a bunch of these extra fence insulator posts, and we just rigged it up so that netting's covering those flowers. And there, our grapes, we're going to have a lot of grapes, a bunch of little grapes coming on here. Potatoes are blooming. Oh, doing well. Our squash plants have grown quite a bit since we were out here last. And a lot of our tomato seeds that we seeded, those tomatoes are starting to come up. I need to get out here and thin them. There's a pretty good size one there. Get those spread out. Same thing here. A lot of our tomato seeds, and those tomatoes are starting to come up. All down through there. Need to thin them out and spread them out a little bit. I actually got some blooms on these smaller tomato plants here. Need to get out here this afternoon probably and tie those back to the fence so they'll crawl up that trellis. Again, some more potatoes back here that are blooming. Our peas, our crowder peas seed that we put in the ground last time, those are sprouted. Need to get out here and do some weeding. Got quite a few cucumbers coming up as well, all around these trellises. Right here's some carrots. My mother had come out here and planted in one of these rows, and I didn't know it and spread the row out a little bit. You can see those carrots are spread out all down through here. Then our cucumbers are coming up. Different variety of cucumber here. Just a little bit more growth, and we can get those trains start going up that fence. Big one doing here. Here's our jalapenos right here. And our cabbage is just starting to curl up, form a head. And we got our broccoli back here. It's forming heads good. And then our Brussels sprouts here. Looks like some bugs starting to get in here and eat on the leaves, so that's something we'll need to get on top of. That's it on the garden. That smoker should be going good, guys. We'll get over there and we'll get into some of these beehives and see what's happening in them. Well, really, we just want to see if they're building comb or not. We'll start down here on this end, just crack these open and see if they're up here in this top box working it. And they are. We got quite a few bees up here. You can look down in here, guys, and see. You can see this new comb. This white comb, that's new comb that they built on these frames, and those are going to be full of honey. Let's pull a few of them out of there and just take a look at them. Got some weight to it, so they're starting to fill this one up. This is an old comb, and you guys can see that honey shining down in there. And this side as well. It's not all the way full. There's still quite a bit of it open. You can see on this side they've already capped some of that honey off. And they've got capped off here on top. So this is a brood frame. You can see this is honey that they had capped off, and they got the brood. And actually see some young larvae down in here, and you can see the older larvae here, and then as we go out we can see younger larvae, and then on out here we can actually see eggs. So she's been on this frame the last 3 days laying eggs. You can see some of them there, they're just starting to cap over that larvae. As you can see, I don't know if y'all can tell it or not, but we can, as I turn that frame up on its side, it's dripping. That nectar is dripping out of it. So that's good enough there. We're gonna put this thing back together and leave these bees alone. And we might get a little bit of honey off of this hive. This is again one of the swarms that we had got earlier in the year. They've already starting to work 2 full deeps. We're just going to use it and try to draw as much comb with them as we can, not get just a whole lot of honey out of them. But they're doing well. Put this back together. Tell you, we're going to go ahead and put our vent hole toward the front. Let them use that as an entrance if they want to, or they can help circulate some of that air as they're drying that honey out. We'll switch right over here to this hive and we'll check on this swarm. A few more bees underneath the top cover than in that first one. A few more bees up top here. Looks like this hive had a lot more foundation in it, but we got 3 older combs here, and it looks like everything else was foundation in this hive. All right, you can see right here they're starting to draw this foundation out and make comb with it. What we're going to do, since we've got, looks like we've got about 6 frames of foundation in this hive. And this box over here was all full, already drawn out combs. We're going to take a couple of these foundations out of this one. Scoot these out, and we're going to pull some of that foundation off of this hive real quick. And I'm sorry, some of the drawn comb off of this hive. They hadn't quite filled out over here to use it yet. So what we're going to do is take, it's a partially drawn one there. Here's a full one right here. So we're going to take this full one and we're going to just put it right over here into this hive. That's going to give those bees space that they can immediately start using to put honey in. Same thing here, just want to make sure our queen's not on either one of these. And she's not. We're going to drop it right down there. We're going to go ahead and grab a couple of more. That one's partially drawn out there, and then this one here is just strictly foundation, so we're going to move it over here to this hive. Same thing with these 2. Alright, that one's a partially drawn one there. We're going to let them have that. And we're just going to leave these 3 foundations on this end. So, alright, put this one back together and we'll be done with it. We'll do the... Alright, we're just going to drop this one right here between these two drawn frames already and push them back together. Alright, we're going to leave that one just like that, put it back together. Alright, let's check on this one right here real quick. This one I've done a little bit different. On these, we had the hive was down in this lower hive body, and we come in and put a second deep on top of it with empty comb to get them to draw. This one I did backwards. This was the original hive body with the bees in it, and I put the comb under them just to see if it made any difference. Checking these 3 hives, and this is a reason too when you're first getting started why you want more than one hive. You don't want to start with just one hive. You want to have at least 2 or 3. That way you can compare them, see what works better, what doesn't. Just gonna lean that up right there. All right, we still got a feeder in here. I'm gonna go ahead and pop that feeder out of there because we're not gonna need it the rest of the summer, at least for a while. So I'm gonna get it out of there and try to get a comb drawn in its place. So I'm just gonna lean it right here on the side. Those bees that are on it, they'll find their way back into the hive. We're just going to go through here a little bit and look. Okay, we got eggs. Everything looks good there. Again, this side's full of eggs, and they're putting honey around the edges there. We're just going to drop it back down in there. I can look down in that bottom box, and so far it doesn't look like they're drawing any of that foundation out down there. I've done this, I guess, last weekend is whenever I put that foundation down there. All right, we got the queen. She's got that whole frame there filled up with brood. So it's going to be a lot of bees right there whenever they hatch. That'll be a lot more bees in this hive. Same thing here. You can tell the bees, as these bees are hatching, they're starting to backfill that with honey where those bees are coming out. Same thing here, another full frame of cat broods. Those will be hatching before long. This hive's going to really explode when all this brood hatches. You can tell that queen, you got a few bigger larvae out here that she's not been capped over yet. You can tell she's just laying where she can between those cells that are full of pollen and nectar. I'm not really seeing that bottom right here. So the queen's doing good. They don't have it packed full of nectar. She's still got a bunch of young larvae in here. So her queen's doing her job in this hive. A lot of brood there, and you can see all this pollen that's mixed in here amongst this brood. So they definitely need more room. There's a frame of empty comb there. Not really putting anything in it. A lot of pollen, honey in this frame. We're gonna probably scoot that to the outside edge, see what these next 2 frames have on them. And guys, you notice I haven't been smoking them a lot at all. They're not being aggressive. Most of the older bees are out working, not in the hive right now. They're out gathering stuff, and those are the ones that'll sting you. So if you don't need smoke, I don't like to use it. All right, a little bit of nectar going in this frame. There's still a lot of this side of it's a lot fuller than this back side, but they're starting to bring it out. I'm going to drop it right down on this edge. Hopefully they'll start working on it. We're going to pull everything back tight so we don't get any crazy comb. Open this up and look at this bottom box real quick. There's a few bees working this. I'll tell you what we're going to do, guys. This box is built onto the bottom board. It's screwed on, so that box, I can't just lift that box up and set this other box down there. So we're going to pull, because this has been on here a week and they're not using this much at all. They're not building any comb out of it. All foundation. So what we're going to do is pull these frames out of this box, put in this box, and we're going to put this foundation on top, because that doesn't seem to be working as well as we want. We'll leave a couple of those frames there, and we're going to leave a few of these drawed out frames in this bottom box as well. Alright guys, we're going to leave that just like that. We're going to scoot this box back on top. We're going to scoot these frames that are drawn out already back over here on top of the ones that are under it that are drawn out. Put these foundation frames on the outside. And hopefully we can get them to start drawing out some of this foundation into new comb for us. Pull everything back tight. Put the lid on it. Let's check on this Apame hive here. Alright, and this is all just empty foundation that we put on top of here. Just looking down in there, not seeing any of it that they really moved up and started drawing on yet. It's heavy waxed. And we're just going to leave this hive alone, come back in a week. Hopefully they've been working on it some more. Got quite a few bees under this cover. A little bit of smoke in there. I'm going to take this top box completely off. I want to look at these two middles where I got my foundation. So I'm going to get in here and see if they're possibly drawn on any of that foundation. Well, it looks like we're getting some foundation drawed out in here. Pull one of them out and look. Alright, so you can tell there they're starting to pull that wax off that foundation and make new comb there, and that's what we're hoping for. Same thing on this one next to it. So we've got them moving up into this box, working it, so that's good. We're going to go ahead and just put this back together. I'm just going to peek into this next box. Oh yeah, they're drawing a lot of foundation out here. Matter of fact, I think there's enough there. What we're going to do is we're going to grab some of our 9 frame spacing, and we're going to put one of those boxes in here. Set this one over here to the side. And they're starting to get pretty upset with me. Might have to put the veil on here in a minute. Just gonna set this one right here for now. I'm going to go ahead and set this 9 spacing box on top of here. A lot of crazy comb on this next frame here, and that's what's so hard about trying to get comb drawn out. You get a lot of this crazy mess, and we're just going to pull some of that wonky stuff off there. I'm going to go ahead and drop it down in there and let them finish working on that, bring it out. Well, we've got this thing apart. We're going to go ahead and set that other medium, get this in the right configuration. We're going to set that other medium back on top of this, or I'm sorry, this deep, back on top of this deep. And then we'll set this honey box on top of it. And we'll set this 10 frame medium on top of it. Hopefully they'll start moving up into it and building some comb. All right. Put this lid back on it. You can tell right here on this lid, guys, right? We put that hole, that opening right there, and it's just enough room for them bees to go in there. And this lid overlaps it there, so we're going to leave it like that, and they can use that top opening if they need to. And the only thing we got left here at the house is this long box, so let's peek right in here and see how these guys are doing. We'll start over here on this side, take a look at them. This is that swarm, one of the swarms we caught in the middle of April. So, and when we started off, you know, they only had a few frames of foundation, or a drawn out comb. The rest of it was foundation. So we're hoping that they've drawn quite a bit of comb here, and it looks like they have. You can see all that white comb down in here, that new comb that they've got. We're gonna go ahead and pull this. I fed them one time after we got them home, just trying to stimulate them to start drawing some of that comb out, and it looks like it's worked pretty well. Let's take this feeder and set it down here. Those bees that are on it will make their way back into the hive. I've just got these sticks laid on top of these frames to give me my bee space on top of them whenever I put these other closure boards in there. And you see here they're just starting to draw that foundation out. This side they haven't started on yet. This next frame, it's going to be it was a foundation frame. Looks like they've got it drawn all the way out. Putting stores in it already, so I'll pull that up. Here we go, all brand new comb. They've about got this side finished. Flip it over, same thing here. A lot of honey around the top of it there. Actually, our queen's been over here and she's laid there. This is full of larvae. Anything that doesn't, we've got the ring of honey around the outside edge, and then all the rest of it's full of larvae. Hopefully you guys can see down in those cells and see some of those. Go ahead and look at this next one here. I bet it's gonna be some of the same. You can see there all that new wax built, and then the first larvae, and then they've got these in the center starting to cap them over. So it's looking good. Same thing on this side, a lot of honey around the top, and then the larvae all the way full out to the bottom edges. So this hive's doing well. They're going to multiply quite a bit as all these hatch out. I'm going to go ahead and check on a couple more. We've seen really all we need to see. They're drawing quite a bit of new comb. Our queen's laying. Well, we've seen the eggs. We know that she's been alive at least in the last 3 days. We're going to go ahead and pull one more out of here just because we can't help ourselves. Same thing there. They're starting to backfill this comb with some honey in the middle as those larvae hatch out. Same thing here. We got a little bit of crazy comb right here in the middle. We're gonna pull that out of there because we don't want them to build out like that. You can see all that nectar in there coming out. And just pull that out of there. They'll come right back in there and fix it. And all this is larvae, guys. Almost every one of those cells. There's some eggs up here in the top. Good chance our queen might be right in here, but I'm not seeing her. I'm going to drop that back down in there. So that's 3 frames of larvae right there. And the rest of these are going to be the same. We're going to go ahead and check one more real quick since we're out here. And this one's got quite a bit of weight to it. Oh yeah, look at there, plumb full. Plumb full. So we got a good, probably a good virgin queen here with that swarm. She's laying up, building up. I had a lot of pollen there in the middle of this one. Larvae, every cell's full of something. So this one's doing well. We're going to go ahead and put that back in here. We're going to give them some more foundation out here at the end to let them keep on drawing out to replace the space of that feeder. So we're just going to scoot all these back down. I'm going to pull a couple of these frames out of the middle that we're just storing them here. We're going to move them right over here on this side of that divider. Let those bees start working them. Go ahead and lay our sticks back in here just to give them that bee space that they need. Move over here to this side and we'll check this side out. We'll do the same thing here. We're just going to pull that divider back, get that feeder out of there. Well, there's a partially drawn out frame that I'd given them, and they haven't come in there and started building that the rest of the way out, but that frame's full, plumb full of nectar there. We're going to put that nectar frame to the outside. This one right beside it. Just got stung right under my eye. Those bees don't like that camera. I'm just going to take a little bit of smoke there where that one stung me. Try to cover that pheromone up. Guys, that pheromone smells like a banana when they sting you. I know it sounds crazy, but you can smell it. Try to pull that stinger out. And you can't tell if I've got it or not without looking in the mirror, but I'm gonna set this camera right here to the side. A lot of times they like to attack that camera. Me having it on my head, I think that's what happened. Well, they can sense that the camera's running or what. Hopefully you guys got a view right there. I'm just gonna check a few more frames. They're already worked up. I can tell that next frame they're building out some. We're building a little bit on that frame, not just too much. All right, here's some new comb we've got on this foundation that we're starting starting to build that out. Got it full of nectar. Slide it back down in there. And look over there at that next frame. That's going to be looks like it's plumb full of nectar. I'm going to slide it out. The next frame here, not the one I'm pulling out, but the next one's plumb full of larvae capped over, getting ready to hatch. Right here we've got a bunch of larvae she's laid. Same thing on this side, a bunch of larvae. So we're going to put this frame right back down in there. We're going to take us some foundation and checkerboard the rest of the way out here. So take this, a partially drawn frame, we're going to slide it right down there next to that larva. I'll slide this one over, it's got the wax in it, and we're going to put another one here. This next one here is just foundation, we're going to leave it there. Slide this one over, we're going to put 2 more foundation here at the end of the nest. And hopefully get them to start drawing out some of that foundation. Need to get me some more boards cut so I can cover the rest of this hive with it. But right now we're just gonna use this feeder to block off the rest of it best we can. All right, guys, so we're happy with how everything's going, and we'll check back in on them in a week or two and see if we can't see if they're starting to cap that honey off and get it finished. And if they are, we may start pulling some honey out and uncapping and harvesting some honey. But that's it. I just figured I'd show you guys a quick upkeep on the bees and the garden. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next video.